What's up everyone, Eber here with HardwareCanucks, and I'm here to talk about chairs. More specifically, why I'm ditching my gaming chair. Because I've been using this guy for the past 2 years, and it was quite an uncomfortable experience, but I've sort of left it out of the equation. I've never even thought about it until now because it's almost affecting the posture that I'm normally used to being sitting at, and it really is concerning to me. So I'm ready to get rid of this guy and look for a new one, and so follow me along. So this will be a two-part series video. The first part would obviously be me talking about why we don't do gaming chairs and why you watching a gaming chair review doesn't really give you the full picture, because there is a lot more than that. So let's get into specifics right after a message from our sponsor.
The new Enermax Lick Fusion is their first addressable RGB all-in-one cooler with a standard 240mm rad and absolutely beautiful RGB ring illumination on the fans and the pump to highlight that unique flow indicator through the transparent top. Check out the Lick Fusion down below.
Okay, so let me backtrack here for a second. So this is the vertagear PL6000 gaming chair. It was sent to us by vertagear for free as a review sample. So let me get into how this has held up so far. First up, physical aesthetics. I mean, I haven't noticed any wear or tear with the materials. It has stayed up really well for these past 2 years. There are no rips or anything of some sort. The one thing that I did notice that was sort of recurring, these past days is that I've noticed creaking here and there. It's just something that I've been noticing for a while, and it gets a little bit annoying, especially if you're recording on cams like scripts or something like that. If you just make a slight movement with your chair, that obviously the microphone picks up that sound and it kind of ruins the whole thing. So that's one of the things that I've noticed with the PL6000. I've definitely started noticing creaks here and there. So that's that. Now, in terms of comfort, well, that's the most discerning part about this gaming chair. In fact, it's the one reason why I'm willing to get rid of this as soon as I can and look for something that's a little bit better. So I'm going to start with the bottom, because the PVC leather option is certainly quite durable, but it doesn't have proper breathing space. So I notice heat buildups very fast. It's very rapid. So if you're sitting in something like this for really long periods of time, especially during summer, your bottom can get really toasty. So it gets a little weird. It obviously becomes a little gross too. So it comes to a point where I have to physically just get out of the chair, start kneeling on the carpet, and do things on my computer, especially when it comes to editing and something like that. So it's definitely not a effective workflow in my opinion. So it's one of those things where I wish I had something that I can comfortably sit on, and unfortunately, the PL6000 with the PVC leather material at the bottom is just not doing any justice. Next up is the backrest. So it is a completely flat surface, meaning there is no proper lumbar support for your back, which means if you're trying to lean back, you kind of have to get to a point where there's that little gap that's filling, or it's just left there out of nowhere. So you really can't comfortably sit back and just relax and do your work. It's just not the case here. vertagear does include a lumbar pillow that you can put on the bottom, but to be honest, it's way too thick, and it almost gets to a point where it pushes you forward without you sort of getting into a comfortable position. It just doesn't add up that well. So that was definitely something that I did notice. Of course, it was definitely concerning. It almost got to a point where I'm slowly starting to slouch forward, which makes it totally uncomfortable, and sometimes it's just not even healthy, because I can notice back pains coming here and there, and that definitely is quite concerning. So a lack of proper lumbar support is one of the reasons why I'm also willing to ditch this gaming chair. I should also mention that proper posture is very crucial. You want to be able to sit back straight and edit comfortably, or just work at a desk comfortably without having to worry about back pains or anything like that, constant or occasional back pains that come up here and there. So it is very crucial. I mean, back pains is, again, a very dangerous thing, especially if you're working at a job where you need to maneuver around. In my case, I have to move around for shots, for composing shots and stuff like that, and of course filming here at the office. So if I have a back problem, then that's definitely going to affect content. And if I don't get proper support at the back, then it's ultimately going to affect my back, and it would obviously end up with me not being able to produce any content. So I don't want to do that. That's not what I'm looking for. So as I mentioned earlier, the lack of proper back support, or just proper lumbar support at the back, is definitely a noticeable thing. And over these past few years, that's one of the things that I've noticed, because you could comfortably lean back. It's just that when you lean, if you're working at a desk, you're getting to a point where you have to obviously slouch, but you can't comfortably rest your lumbar at the back, and that kind of it just doesn't add up. So that's one of the reasons why I'm looking for solutions. Now, this next bit of the video is definitely going to be quite an interesting conversation starter, because I'm going to be talking about chair reviews in general, because personally, I find them to be pointless. I know we did do one back in the past, or probably a couple of them, probably 3 or 4 of them back in the day, but there is a sole reason why we have stopped doing gaming chair reviews here in the channel, at least these days, because over the course of these years, we've slowly come to understand where the industry stands in terms of providing just things in general, I guess features, exclusive features, mostly on gaming chairs, because right now we're seeing gaming chairs with RGB lighting, which is completely just pointless. I have no idea why we're seeing something like that in 2018, but it is existent. It is something that we have to deal with. But most importantly, if a brand reaches out to a YouTuber and if they ask you to, if they're asking you to review one of their gaming chairs, and if they accept that, obviously the first step would be to review that chair, give an unbiased opinion about it. But it almost gets to a point where someone who's watching that review would base their purchase off that opinion. And I don't think that's right, simply because you as an individual, you haven't put in the effort to try out that gaming chair, or not gaming chair in general, but the chair by itself in general at a store, to make sure that you're comfortable sitting on it. Because I've had friends who have tried Herman Miller embody chairs and they absolutely hate it. So, you could be someone who would absolutely fall in love with a $50 chair, an office chair, basic chair, versus someone who just won't be able to take something like that and might want to go with something a little bit better, spend a little bit more money and get something of a higher quality and be a lot better with that. And of course, feel a lot comfortable sitting on it. If you're looking to invest in a chair, I'd highly recommend trying it out at stores rather than buying things online based off chair reviews. That's just my take. Now, trying out different chairs at different stores might be a little bit of a challenge for people who are living in remote areas. So my suggestion would be to do as much of research as you can, narrow down your results, spend a day or two just traveling around, trying out different stores. Maybe if it's a 30-minute drive from your place, take the time to do that, because trust me, that $30 or $50 investment, or even $1,000 investment, can play a huge role when it comes to your posture or just your health in general, because it really does. The chair really does affect your back, the health, the way how you sit, and the way how you just work in general. So if you just decide to cheap out on that investment, if you're looking to take compromises on that part, well, ultimately it is going to affect your health, and that isn't cool. Your chair purchase ultimately determines the quality of life you lead moving forward, because if you invest on a chair based off someone else's opinion that you read online, then the next thing you know, it shows up at your place, you assemble it, you sit on it, and all of a sudden you realize that it just doesn't feel right to you. It doesn't feel comfortable. You don't feel like you're just relaxed when you're working at a desk, or if you're just sitting in it doing other productive things. So that's a complete fail in my opinion, and I hope a lot of you guys can relate to this. I just want to point out that this isn't a takedown on gaming chairs, but rather it's a process that I'll obviously have to go through, not just with gaming chairs, but just chairs in general, to find out what's suitable for me next. So this is probably why we're not going to be doing any chair reviews here on the channel, because I don't think anyone should, again, as I said in the beginning and in the end, should base their opinions or make their purchasing decisions on chairs in general based off someone else's opinion. So that's it from me, guys. I hope you took away something from this video. I think the first thing is obviously I'm going to be ditching this gaming chair and looking for something else. I'll make sure to document and vlog my journey or my path to find the next chair here for the office. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about chairs in general. In fact, are you satisfied with your chair purchase if you've invested, $50 or $30 or $1,000? Let me know in the comments down below if you're satisfied with your purchasing decision, even if it's a gaming chair. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm Eber with HardwareCanucks. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.